Hi there. So we wrapped up play yesterday. We've talked about the deep dive of birth all the way up through 10 years old. And I thought we were going to do an activity today, but I want to talk to you about one more component of that. And that's the fact that we talked about developmentally appropriate milestones in play. But you might be wondering, well, Jenna, that doesn't have anything to do with my child. My child has some delays. What do I do? So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. If your child does have delays, or you notice they're not crawling on time, or they're not walking on time, or they're not pointing and sharing that moment. We talked about joint attention before we started play. And then we talked about pointing and sharing the moment during play. What to do. So I live here in Philadelphia, as you guys very well know by this point. And so we have two different agencies, and goes the same wherever you live. There's always something called early intervention. Early intervention in Philadelphia is a place called ChildLink from birth to 3, and 3 to kindergarten is something called Elwin. So you would talk to your pediatrician wherever you live. This is not specific for Philadelphia. Talk to your pediatrician about, I think I might see some delays, or my child doesn't calm very easily. I think they might have some sensory differences. When they're crawling or walking, their one foot turns in or out. Talk to your pediatrician and really advocate for your child. Because let me tell you a secret. The worst thing if you go to get an evaluation for your child between the ages of birth up until kindergarten is that they don't qualify. That would be the worst thing that could happen, right? And so it doesn't ever hurt to have an evaluation for your child and just know where their needs fall. Now, if your child doesn't have a difference, I would not suggest an evaluation. But if you are curious, the evaluating team would come out and see your child, or now with COVID times, probably talk to you on the phone and video. So that is that. Please talk to your pediatrician. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Email, direct message, whatever it is. I'm happy to field some questions for that. And also, a quick note on hierarchies. So this one's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And of course, if you're an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, a speech therapist, a social worker, anyone who works with children or adults, we talk about this a lot. I remember learning it in grad school especially, but there are 5 steps, and it starts as a triangle. I couldn't figure out how to make a triangle. It starts as a triangle, and the first base level is that a child or an adult's physiological needs need to be met first before they can move on to the next step. They are the biological requirements for survival: food, shelter, warmth, rest, sleep, clothing. Those things need to be met before the child, because we've been talking about play and childhood development, they need to be met before the child can go on to the next step. This also includes adults. I'm going to mostly talk about children, but adults need to have these hierarchies met. So the physiological needs need to be met first before anyone can move on to the next step. The next step is safety needs. So we have physiological needs, safety needs. Safety needs are emotional security, safety, freedom from fear, social stability, health, and well-being. So that's step 2. When that is met, the person, can go on to the 3rd step on the triangle pyramid, which is belongingness and love needs. So we've got physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love needs, and that is friends and interpersonal relationships, trust, feeling accepted, and being accepted, and then also giving and receiving affection. So that's hugs and compliments and all of those things. The 4th step in this pyramid triangle is esteem needs, and there are 2 types: The first is esteem for oneself, which is dignity and independence, so it's internal. And then the second type of esteem need is the desire for respect from others. So status, like I want to gain your respect, so I will carry myself in a certain way. Morally, ethically, all of those things. So we have physiological needs at the base. We have safety needs. When that is met, anyone can move up to belongingness and love needs. And then we have esteem needs, two kinds. And then finally, when all those are met, the very tippity top of the pyramid triangle is self-actualization needs. Self-actualization needs. And that is the highest level. So when everything else is met, a person, a child, an adult, a teen, whoever it is, a senior, can start to realize their own potential. They're seeking personal growth. So if you think about what a child is going through, like the work of play is their work, they need everything met so that they can keep going and keep going. And at any point, we all can kind of keep going back down. There was a place in time in graduate school where I wasn't so sure that where I was going to live. And ironically, we were talking about Maslow's hierarchy. And I remember thinking, I'm having a hard time with academics and learning right now, which is a higher level. It's not the base level, because I don't know where I'm going to live and I need to figure that out ASAP. So that is my personal example of understanding the levels. But so, I could be at level 5, like the highest level right now, and realizing where I am and self-growth and everything like that. But, it might go down and up depending on the day, the time of year, what's happening in our world, feeling safe and secure. So it's a good reminder to think about a child's needs as well. They can go back and forth between, the highest level and all the way back to the lowest level, depending on who you're working with child-wise. So it's just something to think about when you're working or playing with a child as a professional caregiver or caregiver, parent, professional, any of those things, grandparent, whatever it is. There's a lot going on with humans all the time. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. It's a really, really fast intro to that, but tomorrow we are going to do an activity for all ages, I promise. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.